away East Carolina's hopes for a 5th consecutive win over the ACC. A year ago in Blacksburg, Frank Beamer's Hokies were an upset victim of the Pirates. Today, will Virginia Tech find redemption, or will East Carolina notch another victory against the ACC? It's the Hokies and Pirates right now from Greenville. Out of the ACC, the 2-1 Virginia Tech Hokies taking on the team out of the American, the 1-2 East Carolina Pirates. So glad you could join us from Greenville, along with former Oregon head coach Mike Bellotti. I'm Mark Neely. Mike, this has turned out to be a pretty good non-conference rivalry over the years. This is the 8th time they're meeting in the last 9 years. They're scheduled to meet 9 times in the next 10 years. But these players and coaches aren't worried about the past or the future. They're worried about today, and just keeping a quarterback healthy for each of these schools has been problematic this year.
Yeah, there have been some quarterback issues. You know, East Carolina, Shane Carden, the hero of last year's game, took off to the NFL. They had Kurt Banker all set to come in and be the guy until 6 days before the first game, and he got hurt. So all Blake Kemp has come in and do as the starter is complete 70% of his passes. But they want to jumpstart that running game, so we may see James Summers a little bit today, who's a little bit more of an athlete. On the other side, Virginia Tech, in that first game against Ohio State, Michael Brewer, who looked much improved, unfortunately breaks his collarbone and goes down. So now Brendan Motley is the guy for them. They say he plays big. I think that means he stands tall in the pocket, but when he runs, he can move people. And they may also play Dwayne Lawson today to help, again, with that running game.
Well, in the last 2 meetings between these schools, Virginia Tech defensive coordinator Bud Foster has employed a couple of different techniques to try to stop the East Carolina offense. What does he do to today?
Well, you know, 2 years ago, they won a close game 15-10. He played primarily zone defense. Last year, for some reason, said, no, we need to heat them up. We need to pressure them. He lost a couple of jump balls down the field. They lost a close game. This year, he thinks he's going to mix it up, but primarily go zone to be safe, especially with this weather.
And his defense will face that spread offense for East Carolina. It's an offense that likes to live through the air. But, Mike, they have to run the football at least fairly well today to have a chance, and that puts a lot on Chris Hairston.
No question. Chris Hairston has 80% of their yards on the ground. He has to have a great game today. He needs help from the offensive line, but them running the ball effectively on the early downs will help keep the Virginia Tech defense honest.
Well, just a short time ago, East Carolina taking the field with a sellout crowd today at the Rowdy Dowdy. Virginia Tech, East Carolina, and the kickoff from Greenville is straight ahead. It's been a rainy couple of days here in the Carolinas. We expect more rain. Its intensity will vary. Could affect this game, no doubt, at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium between Virginia Tech and East Carolina. Well, Virginia Tech lost Michael Brewer in that first game to Ohio State. And as we bring in the third member of our broadcast crew, Don Davenport. Don, Michael Brewer, how much of a role does he still play now with Brendan Motley as the quarterback?
You know, he's still a big part of this offense, Mark. Normally, injured players don't travel for the Hokies. Not the case with Michael Brewer. He's an extra set of eyes for Motley and for offensive coordinator Scott Loeffler. I watched Brewer during warm-ups, and, you know, he really coached Motley up, talking footwork, reminding him about ball security. His coaching role is going to amp up today, though. Offensive line coach Stacy Searles stayed home with a back injury, so tight ends coach Brian Steinspring moves down to coach the line. Brewer going to take over his job, guys. He's going to watch the defense. He's going to pass along any adjustments he deems necessary to Coach Loeffler. So a pretty big role for him, even though he's not on the field, guys. He's still a big piece of this offense.
Yeah, acting like a real coach here today, coming back from that collarbone injury. They hope to get him back in a few weeks, 3 or 4 perhaps, maybe less. They'll see. But the wet weather today is a story. The temperature not bad, low 70s. Humidity high in the forecast is for rain. A lot of rain coming in off the coast in here to Greenville. Well, Frank Beamer, the head coach for Virginia Tech in his 29th season, has been there on the sidelines in Blacksburg since 1987. Ruffin McNeil in his 6th season here. He's been here since 2010 and has really brought some stability to this program in Greenville. East Carolina won the toss and will receive. Joe Sly to kick off. This is a bit of an insane number, Mike, but East Carolina is going to receive the opening kickoff now for the 39th time in the last 41 games.
That is amazing. Most people defer, but I think they like to take the ball if they win the toss.
Trayvon Brown from the 5-yard line hits the 20. And is wrapped up there at the 22. Brownies missed the first 3 games of the season due to a violation of team rules. Back and playing in an 18-yard return. So there's the junior transfer from Mason Community College, Blake Kemp, the starting quarterback for ECU.
He's done a great job, very accurate passer, not the strongest arm and not a great movement skills, but he understands and feels comfortable distributing the ball like a point guard in basketball. A lot of options out there on this offense.
You see ECU wearing the all-black uniforms today. Here at home, they wore all black last year in Blacksburg, and of course won that game. And a fumble. And jumped back on by Kemp. Well, right away, Hairston and Kemp not on the same page.
That zone read again early on. It's am I giving it or taking it? And it's a combination of just repetition between the quarterback and the tailback to get that feel for who's going to have the ball.
And this time to throw. Kemp comes and that ball's picked off. Right into the arms of Greg Stroman, and he's down at the 31-yard line. A terrible start for ECU, a near fumble and turnover, and then an actual turnover, the pick by Stroman.
The quarterback stared down the receiver, and the defensive back literally jumped in front and took the ball away. The reality is, as we talk about this, as you look at it here, you can see, you watch what happens here, just a double slant on that side, and the underneath defender read it. He had the chance to break on the ball and got there before the receiver did.
Jimmy Williams, the intended receiver for the Pirates. And Stroman with the pick, the sophomore out of Bristow, Virginia. And a quick turnover. And Virginia Tech, the quarterback Brendan Motley, again at the 31-yard line. And a handoff to Coleman. Wrapped up at the 29 for a gain of a couple by Montese Overton.
Virginia Tech would probably like to establish the line of scrimmage early, run the football, take a lot of pressure off Motley, just let him throw when he wants to throw as opposed to having to throw. But only a 2-yard gain means it's potentially a down where defense can dictate what happens.
They go to the empty backfield, though they do have Trayvon McMillan out wide. Now in motion comes Isaiah Ford. Motley quickly dumps it off to Ford. Quick screen pass, and he has room across the 20. And he has a first down near the 16-yard line. Trayvon Simmons and Joe Alley with the tackle for ECU.
I like that type of throw early for a quarterback. It's an easy completion, gets him a little rhythm feel, and you get yards after the catch. They pick up all they need for the first down. So that's a great way to get your quarterback into the game, especially when the elements like the wind and the rain might affect the throws down the field.
Virginia Tech quickly in the red zone after taking over at the 31 after the interception. In motion, Cam Phillips. Hand it off to Coleman. Not much there, just a yard. Joe Alley, again, the weak side linebacker coming up to make the tackle.
Joe Alley does a great job. He's not the biggest guy, about 230. He's taking on offensive linemen that weigh 300-plus pounds, but he's got a great center balance, low center of gravity, and he's got great pad level in terms of taking on blocks.
18 tackle of the season for Alley, who's a former walk-on, which is a common moniker here at East Carolina.
They do a great job of finding talent, local talent that does not get recruited. They have them walk on, and those kids eventually become great players for them.
Empty backfield, but Trey Edmonds lined up wide left. Now he comes in motion. Play clock down to 1. They get the play off and take it off the quarterback Motley straight ahead across the 10. Down around the 9-yard line, wrapped up by Jordan Williams and Fred Presley.
Both teams have talked about the need to run the quarterback draw, quarterback counter, etc. The quarterback run game, because both of these defenses will load the box, meaning add a player if you don't run the quarterback or keep them honest with the zone read. 3rd and 4 is a great down from an offensive perspective, because you can do a lot of things to get that necessary 4 yards.
McMillan in motion. Motley rolling out, looking his way, and caught. Diving for the pylon. He did not get in. But that ball was nearly picked off, or at least it had an opportunity to be picked off.
You know, I would say that was a very well thrown ball, because the reality is that ball, you're right, had it been thrown any lower or more on the line, it would have been picked. He put just the necessary air on that ball, get over the defender, perfectly caught ball, allowed the receiver to catch it in stride.
I think that was Zeke Bigger who was in the vicinity of possibly picking that one off, but It is a 1st and goal at the 1 for Virginia Tech. Trying to capitalize on the early turnover. 6th play of the drive. Handed off straight ahead and waltzing into the end zone. Touchdown, Trey Edmonds.
Trey Edmonds is the pro-style power back for them. No surprise to see him in that style of offense at the 1-yard line.
2nd rushing touchdown of the season for the eldest of the 3 Edmonds brothers on this Virginia Tech team. Slides point after. Makes it an early 7-0 game. But Mike, the pick by Stroman quickly turned into points by Tech.
Yeah, you know what? You have to turn interceptions into touchdowns. Here's the play that set it up, got it back, and then this is the payoff for them, the 1-yard touchdown.
Quay Johnson and Trayvon Brown back deep. Slides boot. From 3 yards deep, Quay Johnson brings it out. At the 20, meets resistance out of bounds just across the 21-yard line. Well, let's take a look at the bright side, brought to you by CarMax. And look at this series history. Virginia Tech leads 13-6. They've won 10 of the last 12, though. ECU won last year by a touchdown late. And it is a rivalry, Mike.
Yes, when a team can beat the other team, it becomes a rivalry. When it's a one-sided, lopsided affair, that's not the case. But this team, Virginia Tech especially, remembers last year's game.
Blake Kemp out for the 2nd series. 2 plays on their first possession. One was a fumble that they recovered. The 2nd play was the pick by Stroman. Chris Hairston and freshman Sean Furlow in there now in the backfield. Kemp has to hurry. Hit as he throws. Wounded duck, and that's intercepted by Mook Reynolds. There is a flag down. Reynolds on the return inside the 20, down to the 18.
Yeah, if that ball wasn't tipped, then that might be pass interference or holding. I'm not sure. Take a look, maybe.
Well, Kenny Canham is the one to put the pressure on the quarterback, Kemp, and caused that wounded duck to fly towards the secondary before it was caught and intercepted by Reynolds.
And Kemp right now is holding or trying to move that throwing hand. He may have gotten hit in the elbow or the wrist, which could affect his throwing motion.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. Therefore, there is no foul for defensive pass interference. It'll be 1st down, Virginia Tech.
Well, he said fumble, but I think he meant it was not fumble. It was an interception because the ball went forward. Well, that's a forward pass.
Wow, I thought that was a forward. Either way, it's an interception or a fumble recovery. I guess, yeah, that arm's going forward. I'm not sure I would agree with the call. I don't think it changes the outcome. You can see that more. Anytime that ball or arm is moving forward, no matter what happens with the football.
So Virginia Tech, after the first interception, took over at the 31-yard line of ECU. This time they take over at the 19. Sam Rogers, the fullback, in there. In motion, Isaiah Ford. Kept by Motley. Tackled near the 10 by Zeke Bigger, but that's a 9-yard run for the quarterback, Brendan Motley.
That's what I'm talking about. When I said he plays big and his coaches described him that way, that was a run where it looked like he was going to get 3 or 4, but he broke some tackles and gained 9 yards.
Motley swings it out to Isaiah Ford, but he's wrapped up back at the 14 by Trayvon Simmons.
That's a great play by the defense. The way to stop that quick screen to the outside is defeat the initial blocker and stop the receiver before he gets ahead of steam and can make a move on him. Great leverage.
Went from 2nd and short to after a 3-yard loss. Now 3rd and 4.
Third and 4 in the red zone. They're going to spread them out. This looks like an empty formation, which the run, if they don't cover the running lanes inside, watch out for quarterback draw.
In motion, Rogers. Now in motion comes Edmonds. He's into the backfield. Motley running, keeping. Close. Inside the 10, but I don't think he got there. We'll see with the spot.
One of the things that the East Carolina defensive people talked about was it's so difficult to prepare for Virginia Tech because they'll line up in 21 personnel, which is 2 backs and a tight end, but they'll line up in empty or some other formation, and they're going to force you to determine whether you're going to defend the formation or the group personnel group.
You surprised at all they're going for an early dagger here, going for it on 4th down?
I'm not surprised at all.
4th and 1. They're 2 of 3 on 4th down so far this season. Keeping Motley pushes forward, and he'll have it.
Who won this game last year?
ECU.
So Virginia Tech will not let off the pedal to the metal until this game is over. No surprise at all going for it on 4th and 1 down there.
And a part of last year's game, Mike, is the fact that after 1 quarter last year at Blacksburg, ECU led 21-0. That's the only time in Frank Beamer's tenure that they've trailed 21-zip at the end of the first quarter. And I bet they still remember that.
He talked about the fact that it was an important game for East Carolina. It has to be an important game for us, talking about the Virginia Tech players.
First to goal, Virginia Tech from the ECU 8. Handed off, Coleman. Protecting that ball as he tried to strip it out of his hands. Rocco Scarfone, a tackle for ECU.
I liked ECU's defense on film. They really rallied hard to the football. They're a little hamstrung up front. They only have 6 healthy defensive linemen. They're very thin right there. And the more they're on the field, the longer this game is going to be for those young men.
Here's Hodges, number 7, who's technically a tight end. Lined up in the near slot. Number 7. Motley into the end zone, into the back of the end zone, caught, touchdown, the tight end, Ryan Malik.
Big target and great protection for the quarterback. He stood in there the entire time.
Here's the point after for Sly. 14-0 Virginia Tech. They've taken advantage of 2 early ECU turnovers.
Look at that throw right over the top. Perfect placement. Tap the feet down inbounds.
14-zip Tech. Ryan Malik had 24 catches last year for Tech with 2 TDs. He just picked up his 8th catch of the year this year, and already touchdown reception number 2. 14-0 Virginia Tech. Still 7:13 to play the first quarter from Greenville, North Carolina.
Well, you pick your poison with those 2 big guys. Bucky Hodges 6'7" and Ryan Malik 6'5". If you cover one of them, the other guy's going to be one-on-one or getting zone coverage, and they're great targets in zone coverage.
Well, due to the personal foul penalty, Sly has to kick it off from their own 20-yard line. And a chance for a return for Quay Johnson or Trayvon Brown, who are standing just outside their own 10. And a line drive taken at the 11 by Quay Johnson. At the 30-35. Stapled down at the 39-yard line. A better starting field position at their own 39. Thurston, they fake the handoff to him, and that is caught at the 45 by Davon Grayson, who races ahead all the way inside the Virginia Tech 40. Tackled by Greg Stroman. 24-yard pickup.
The token play fake helps to slow down that rush of the Virginia Tech defensive line. They'll need more of that.
ECU picks up the tempo here, try to get the offense kick-started. It's kept by Kemp. He didn't hand off to Harrison. He just kind of used him as a lead blocker. Tackled by Adonis Alexander, and for the quarterback, Kemp, a run of about 7 yards.
They believe he can run the zone read. They talked about the fact that they're comfortable running option with him. But I think they still have to get Chris Hairston started, give him some carries, let him get some yards behind that offensive line.
And they give it to Hairston, but he's immediately met in the backfield for a loss by Corey Marshall and Kenny Canham. Loss of 2.
He didn't have much of a chance. When you have to stop in the backfield 2 yards deep to try to make a move to avoid oncoming defensive linemen, you're going to struggle to gain yards. Great penetration by that defensive front.
They're down at 7. Kemp throws across the middle. Wide open tight end Williams. Bryce Williams, first down inside the 20-yard line of Virginia Tech. 15-yard pickup.
Nice patience by Kemp. Here you can see him, he's under pressure, steps up, gets rid of the ball. Big play. And that receiver, Bryce Williams, as I said, he plays large.
That has made caused some shifting. And that ECU line, right now they're having fits. Zone read kept by Kemp. Luke Reynolds lowered his shoulder to tackle the quarterback at the 17-yard line. 3-yard gain.
Right now they're going to need the zone read or some type of option running game to keep the defensive front of Virginia Tech honest, because otherwise they're just teeing off and coming after the tailback.
East Carolina trying to answer after giving up 2 quick touchdowns. Inside the 5, it'll be 1st and goal. The reception by Davon Grayson.
This is more what Ruffin McNeil wanted. The coaches talked about he'll have them ready to play. He's a great motivator no matter what happens early in the game.
14-yard gain, 1st and goal from the 3. And he kept it into the end zone. Touchdown. Blake Kemp, and a statement drive for ECU, helped out by the personal foul penalty, giving them good field position to begin the drive.
Great field position to start the drive, but Blake Kemp coming back from a horrendous start, 2 interceptions and a fumble, to basically run and throw the ball down the field. I salute that young man, because he could have caved his tent based on the way he performed, but he said, no, we're going to get this done. Congratulations to ECU on that drive.
7 plays, 61 yards in just over 2.5 minutes. Davis Plowman for the point after. Well, just a couple of tempos for ECU. The fastest is the one they called now. And now they got it done, Mike. Kemp kept it, takes it into the end zone.
Perfectly executed on that zone read.
Well, Blake Kemp leading his team down the field for a huge touchdown to get them back in this game, trailing 14-7. Still 4:33 to play in the first quarter.
That excited the fans for sure. They're making a lot more noise right now. And, you know, I forgot too that he played in the rain at Florida. It sprinkled during that game, so he's been used to throwing a wet ball. But great comeback, basically, because it was a comeback in terms of his performance in the first couple drives.
Another comeback at Florida fell a little short as well. Back on September 12th, they lost that game 31-24. Trying to bounce back from a loss at Navy last week, their first conference game of the year. With Navy down with the American, 45-21. Midshipman was the final. Lance kick. Asante from the 2. Has not reached the 20. This ECU team feeling some momentum. Motley puts it in the air, a little underthrown and incomplete at the 25, intended for Isaiah Ford. Well, the Bruins and Wildcats will square off in a battle of Pac-12 unbeaten Saturday Night Football, presented by Wells Fargo. Number 9 UCLA, number 16 Arizona in the desert tonight at 8 on ABC and streaming live on Watch ESPN.
The winner of that game will have the inside track for the Pac-12 championship.
First incompletion for Motley. He had converted on his first 4 pass attempts. This time he hands it off to Trey Edmonds up to the 21-yard line. Met there by Darius Commission.
See a little bit more muster in that defense right now. You know, they're tied into this game. When the offense scores and comes back, when they don't feel like they're doing it by themselves, you get a chance to really see them react and start to play. 3rd and long now. Let's see what they decide to do in this situation. If they come after them or they drop and play zone.
Virginia Tech 1 of 2 so far on 3rd down. When they did not convert, they went forward on 4th and short and made it. But this a 3rd and 7. Motley stands in, throws, almost intercepted by Trayvon Simmons.
They did a nice job of showing pressure and then backing out and playing a little softer zone. Picked them up pretty well. Had a robber to that side, and he could have had a pick. I think he was thinking, maybe I'm gone. A pick 6. Got to catch that thing. Here you can see, like I said, they only rush 4. They got a 5th guy jumping around there. And I think he just couldn't quite hang on to it.
Didn't get the pick, but do get a 3 and out. And that is huge from their defense. Wade Johnson back to receive the punt from A.J. Hughes. Low snap. The left-footed punter gets a nice boot away. Takes a Virginia Tech bounce, and then now it takes an ECU roll and is down at the 40. 39-yard punt. There was a flag and a hold called against Virginia Tech, but refused. So again, good starting field possession for East Carolina. First couple of drives each resulted in a turnover. Kemp, that screen well read, and tackle back near the line of scrimmage for no gain. Cassidy, thanks. Back here in Greenville, just under 3 minutes to play. Clock running first quarter. 14-7 Virginia Tech. Second down and 10. ECU. Kemp stands in, looking to throw. Clears a little space and throws. And a tumbling grab made by Trayvon Brown.
Well, that was an excellent effort. First time he's played this year, and he lays out for this pass. I wasn't sure if he was just throwing it away, but he did put it where only he could catch it.
Kemp throws it, has his man high pass, but caught at the 40-yard line. Once again, Trayvon Brown. 19-yard gain. Boy, I can see why they say they missed this guy the first 3 games.
That was a double move route, and the key to it was the protection the offensive line afforded the quarterback to allow the double move down the field. I like it. Kemp doesn't have the strongest arm, but like I said, he's athletic. He puts the ball in places where his guys can catch it.
Dave Nickel, the offensive coordinator for East Carolina, told us that Trayvon Brown makes grown man plays. This was Davon Grayson. First down at the 23.
They've got weapons, and obviously right now Blake Kemp is in a little different rhythm. He knew where to go with that ball. He threw it right now, and that's a whole shot. Great job of executing, getting the ball out, and great catch by the receiver.
So it's a first down. This into the end zone. Battling. Touchdown.
They caught them misaligned right there. There was nobody covering that guy. Great reaction by the quarterback to find him immediately.
Trayvon Brown over Stroman, who, as you mentioned, Mike, had his back to the pass, and Brown just went over the top of him.
If we can take a look, he's uncovered. Somebody was misaligned. They didn't find him, but they didn't get lined up. But a great effort to continue to keep that ball. Remember, he's got to hold it in contact with the ground and make sure complete possession, gets his feet down. Almost a great reaction by Stroman, but not enough.
Helmet ties it up. Wow, what a change we have had here in Greenville. The start 0 for 2. They did count that second one not as an interception, but as a fumble. So that's why that's not 2 interceptions. But since then, he's been almost flawless. It's Trayvon McMillan back deep. Also Kevin Asante back for the Hokies. And through the back of the end zone for a touchback. It'll come out to the 25. Gives it up to J.C. Coleman. For 1.5 yards or 2. Fred Presley, defensive end, who's another one of the former walk-ons on the ECU defense with the tackle.
I like the patience of the ECU defensive front. They didn't over-pursue or over-penetrate.
That's the end of the first quarter.
Well, it's already been a wild ride. We take us to the end of the first quarter, tied at 14. And this presentation to college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. A light rain continuing to fall here in Greenville, North Carolina, as we begin the second quarter. East Carolina's dug out of the early 14-0 hole. We're tied at 14. Virginia Tech facing a second down and 8. Top of the screen. Bucky Hodges looking in that direction. Motley has to roll out. Looking downfield in the direction of the fullback Rogers, who got a little push from behind at the end, but incomplete at the 47. Zeke Bigger going after Motley there, forced him out of the pocket.
And Rogers, the intended receiver, is a do-everything player for Virginia Tech. He's a single back, he's a fullback, he's an H-back, he plays on special teams. He even led Chapel this weekend because the chaplain did not make the trip. He's one of the most inspirational leaders on this football team.
I said he was a walk-on for only about a week, and the coaches had said, hey, we got to give this kid a scholarship.
Yeah, he's the guy you want in your program. players and coaches alike trust him to do anything.
Well, 3rd and 11. Motley was 4 for his first 4 through the air, but has missed on his last 3 pass attempts. Motley feeling the heat from behind. Is he going to take off? No, he's going to throw, and he had his man wide open, but overthrew the aforementioned Sam Rogers.
He had 2 men wide open. He did a great job of avoiding the rush, keeping the play alive, but I'll tell you what, sometimes that reaction from a quarterback, let's just take a look and watch him. You see him go there. He gets off, gets touched by the defensive end coming off the edge, breaks clean, and then has a choice of who to throw to. And I don't know if the ball, of course, it could be a little wet down there too, so I can't really say that, but that's one he would like to have back.
5 penalties for 44 yards against Tech. Fair catch signaled 4 and taken it to 22 by Johnson. 14 all early second quarter. Virginia Tech scored on their first 2 possessions. We have a new quarterback for ECU as James Summers makes his first appearance. Chris Hairston unable to get to the edge to get around that edge before he's tripped up by Adonis Alexander, number 36.
Interesting. I would say Blake Kemp was the hottest quarterback the last couple series in the stadium, but now is the time that maybe they want to just get Summers in there, get his feet wet a little bit in terms of this, and maybe try to run the ball.
I think his feet are getting wet literally with everybody else's, the way the rain's coming down. He passes off the hands of Alexander, and that could have been picked by Stroman. He had a chance for his second INT of the game.
And that ball is slick, so you really got to look it in, and especially when the ball is out on the perimeter of your hands, it's very difficult to corral a wet ball. This pass is just a little high, and it's not that bad. Probably should have been picked, as you say.
So 3rd down at 9. ECU 2 of 2 on 3rd down though today. Kept by Summers, avoids 1 tackler, hits the edge on the move, and what a run by the quarterback Summers for his run down by Chuck Clark, and a 1st down, a gain of 15.
And that's what he brings to the table. He's the X factor. He can do it right here. Watch him bounce outside, read the blocks. He doesn't even think about it. It's just a natural response. Gets that 1st down, and this is what they expect him to do, sort of energize the running game when he's in there. But he can throw.
1st down ECU at their own 39-yard line. Handed off Harrison. Boy, he just has not been put in situations where he can do much, and Luther Maddie drops him for a loss of 3.
Now, he has not had much of a chance to run the football tonight. Seems like every time he gets it, he takes 1 step and is hit by several Virginia Tech defenders.
Harrison 5 carries for -6 yards. Second down to 13. Summers keeping, using Harrison as a blocker. Not much. There's forward progress stop to the 35. Let's go down to Todd Davenport. 2 things. Hey, first, we haven't seen Kendall Fuller. Came in with a leg injury. What's his status? And number 2, how bad is the rain?
Well, first of all, the rain is terrible. It's really picked up here in the last few minutes. Coaching staff told us that Kendall Fuller was battling that knee injury. He has a brace on the right knee, but I've watched him during warm-ups. He looked fine. He's been running sprints over here. He hasn't had his helmet. He just put his helmet in, guys. So this could be a situation where we might see him.
Well, thanks. We'll see if Fuller sees the field here shortly. Summers rolling out. Puts it in the air. 1st down catch and run across midfield. Quay Johnson. Did he lose it at the end, though? Virginia Tech saying they have it. And Virginia Tech comes out with it. Adonis Alexander. No signal yet from the officials. Alexander's already come out with a football.
The ball came out. The question is whether he was down or not at any point when he had possession. We watch this thing go. He's going to take a heck of a hit, try to spin through it. Right there, the ball.
Oh, that's out.
That's out.
Easily out.
Yeah. Great job of stripping, ripping and stripping the football. Just what you teach for a trail defender.
But we saw Jimmy Williams come in for ECU. He had the best shot at the recovery.
It's 1st down.
So I think that's what happened. Williams had it initially, was down, and then may have had it taken away by Alexander. So it was a fumble. Well, the turnovers, they almost forced a third one today. Virginia Tech a +6 in turnover margin, one of the tops of the FBS.
Bud Foster's group, like I said, they're famous for that. I think they've been playing a little soft in the pocket. They watch them trying to heat them up, but there goes Summers on the outside off his own read.
Pulled out of bounds, and that's going to draw a flag. It may have been a horse collar or face mask. And that's going to add to this run. He went out of bounds at about the 12. Deion Clark. Looks like he's the one that's going to pick up the foul at the end of the play after a 14-yard run.
I think James Summers
Personal foul. Horse collar tackle. Defense, number 40. After distance to the goal, first down.
That's a classic horse collar when you reach up inside, pull him down from behind. That'll take it down to about the 5-yard line.
So here's East Carolina with a chance at the first and goal at the 5. Looking to take their first lead of the game after being down early 14-0. Summers, draw play, touchdown, Pirates. I thought, Mike, with the way Kemp had rebounded and was playing, maybe this wasn't the time to see Summers, but with the rain really coming down, he was effective on that drive.
And James Summers is as advertised. They talked about him being an athlete. They felt he could throw the ball, but he has that it factor as a runner. He's got the quickness and the acceleration, and he's certainly going to help this running game because Hairston has not been able to get very much going.
Plowman's extra point out of the hold of Worth Gregory. What a turnaround for East Carolina after falling behind early by 2 touchdowns to bounce back and lead this game by 7 at the break.
Well, and Blake Kemp deserves a pat on the back, but so does James Summers because those two did a great job.
Dawn's down on the field with Coach Beamer. Dawn.
All right, thank you guys, Coach Beamer. It seems like momentum shifted in that first quarter right after that personal foul call. What did you see out of your offense after that momentum shift?
Well, I think the deal is that they just played better than us. They found a young corner over here, and they've taken advantage of that. And then we've got our offense going there a little bit late. So it's another half. It's a 4-quarter game, and we just got to stay on course and keep playing hard. It's hard to win down here.
ECU did have some success in the air that half. What do you do to adjust to that?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
East Carolina did have some success in the air that half. What do you do to adjust to it?
Well, we got to snug up the receivers a little bit better. Like I said, they found a young corner and threw it over here about 10 times. So we got to give him a little help. But I think we know what we need to do. We just got to get it done.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Beamer thinks Kendall Fuller's absence has played a part in this game for Virginia Tech. At the half, 21-14, ECU leads. When we come back to studio, we'll catch up on everything at halftime after these messages. East Carolina leading Virginia Tech 21-14. Rain continuing to fall here in Carolina. Glad you could join us on this Saturday along with former Oregon head coach Mike Bellotti. I am Mark Neely. Mike, about midway through the first quarter, it was 14-0 Virginia Tech. East Carolina had run 5 plays and had 2 turnovers. And then all of a sudden the game turned on a dime.
Yeah, and give credit to Blake Kemp. The reality is he had those 2 turnovers. He came back, though, and led them to a couple scores. They brought in James Summers. The interesting thing to me is that the 3 leading rushers in this game are all 3 quarterbacks. The running backs can't do much. That's a credit to the defenses. They're keying on the running backs, but the quarterbacks are taking advantage of that.
We heard Coach Beamer walking out for the intermission saying that he had a quarterback that was getting picked on. Kendall Fuller's not playing in this game for Virginia Tech. That's been a big issue.
That's been a huge issue. As he said, he has a young corner in Edmonds probably that's getting picked on. Kendall Fuller, their All-American, is not going to play today, it sounds like, and that's a big loss for Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech will get the football to begin the second half. Kevin Asante, Trayvon McMillan back deep to receive for Virginia Tech. Rain still falling. The intensity varies at times, but it has certainly played a part in this game. Pratt's kick And we're underway in the second half. It'll be a touchback and come out to the 25. Let's take a look at our halftime double check, brought to you by State Farm. 2 possessions, 2 takeaways. Virginia Tech was off and rolling, but since then, been a lot of ECU's offense.
Yeah, Virginia Tech had it too easy. They got great field position, cashed in the first 2 turnovers, but then the offense sort of went away, and they had, you know, the difference in this game is that ECU has converted all 3 opportunities in red zones into touchdowns. Virginia Tech just 2 out of 3.
Brendan Miley, a quarterback for Virginia Tech, and something you mentioned, Coach, is that the leading 3 rushers so far in this game are all quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't know if we would have predicted that going into the game.
Coleman straight ahead for just a yard or 2 near the 27.
And I've been impressed with Motley when he has run the football. He has done it with authority. He makes people miss. He carries the pile. He's done a very, very nice job. And he goes through spurts in terms of throwing the football, too. One pass he'd like to have back. He had a couple guys open on a key 3rd down opportunity. But for the most part, he has not been the problem.
Motley, the leading rusher right now this game, 12 rushes, 61 yards. So he's averaging a little over 5 yards a carry. Motley sends it out to Isaiah Ford. Block on the edge from the tight end Malik. And a collision there at the 30-yard line with Deshaun Amos.
Isaiah Ford, they think, is really, really good, a very intelligent player. We haven't called his number much tonight, so I would think they may try to get him a little bit more involved in this game plan.
Got to put on about 15 pounds in the offseason. He was their leading catcher last year, 57 catches for a team by 709 yards at 6 TD catches a year ago. Leading the team with 3 touchdown catches so far this year. 3rd down and 7. Motley has to clear the pocket, but finds his man at the 29. Cam Phillips, who takes a hit at the 32. He took a big hit, but pops up. And a couple of yards shy of the 1st down. Trayvon Simmons, sophomore, free safety, put the lick on him.
Motley fairly comfortable, actually escapes the rush, gets out, puts the ball on the money, but right here, good pop. He got high load right there. They didn't give him a chance to get the yardage for the 1st down. The defense probably still on the field are making sure there is no fake. They're going to be very safe and stay off the ball.
High snap over Hughes. He has to chase it into the end zone. What's he going to do with it? He's going to punt it. And he gets it away and all the way back to the 45-yard line of ECU. A.J. Hughes miraculously.
He saved a touchdown or a safety. Certainly saved points off the board. Watch what a great job he does on the move, kicking that ball with his left foot. I mean, he is left-footed, but still, that was a heck of a punt, and it destroyed any opportunity for a return.
Well, it goes as a 20-yard punt, but he had to retreat about 20-something yards into the end zone. When his back was to the defenders chasing him, I thought he may just kick the ball out of bounds and take the safety.
I think he had the control of mind to say, where are they? I've got enough time to turn around. And he saved, like I said, a certain 2 points, if not a touchdown, potentially.
Summers in there at quarterback, uses a stiff arm and can't turn that corner, thanks to Chuck Clark.
Chuck Clark is the athlete that really makes that defense go. He's a safety. He'll be up on the line of scrimmage at times. He'll come from the center field. He'll come off the edge. They love to do certain things with him, and they feel that his ability gives the flexibility to this defense to be what they want it to be.
And the numbers for Kemp and Summers. Summers really impressive on that rushing side. Has a rushing touchdown. Summers in the air, double coverage. The adjustment, did he make the catch? He did, falling on top of the defender, Isaiah Jones, his first grab of the day. It goes for 29.
Again, this is a situation where the receiver has the opportunity to keep his eyes back and focus on the football. Defense didn't know where it was, did a good job of playing the ball in the air.
Jones with that grab now has a catch in 27 consecutive games. Inside the 20 to the 18. The carry for Hairston wrapped up by Sean Huelskamp.
Notice that there seems to be a little bit more room inside when Summers is the quarterback, because the defense has to keep an eye. They have to be more honest in their gap controls.
Summers gives it up. Hairston hit a wall there. Luther Maddie, Sean Hulskamp lost maybe a half yard or so.
Couldn't tell if he should have kept that. That's one of the questions you'll have, and you look back at film and say, gosh, I probably should have kept that one. He might be keying the shoulder turn of the defensive end or the end man on the line of scrimmage. You never know.
Well, Virginia Tech's D came into this game holding opponents to 21% conversion on third down, but ECU 4 of 5 on third down today. Summers sacked back at the 30-yard line by Sean Hulskamp.
We talked about the fact that Virginia Tech was going to heat them up the middle. They decided that was the apex, the point of attack they wanted to do. Here you can see the middle linebacker blitzing. The quarterback has to feel that in his side vision and get rid of that ball. You cannot take that type of loss in field goal territory.
Hulskamp, who comes off a really good game at Purdue last week. The Centerville, Virginia native, Chantilly High School. Summers puts it in the air, one-on-one coverage, jump ball in the end zone. Touchdown! What a grab for Isaiah Jones, who did not have a catch in the first half, but makes 2 remarkable catches on this drive, including the touchdown.
Well, they did put it up one-on-one. They found a one-on-one matchup. He had to fight through the defender, but a great job of controlling that football, getting his hands underneath. And look at this catch. It looks as if his hands did come underneath the ball. Wow, great catch and great execution.
Plowman adds the extra points. Almost 5 minutes gone in the second half. It's now 28 unanswered points from the East Carolina Pirates. Almost 5 minutes gone here in the third quarter. A wet day, a rainy day. Greenville, North Carolina. Glad you could join us, along with Don Davenport down on the field, and former Oregon head coach Mike Bellotti out Mark Neely. 28 unanswered points from East Carolina. Goes over the head. Trayvon McMillan will come out to the 25. First down, Motley looks to throw. Lets it go as his man complete. Hodges still battling across the 40. All the way down near the 30-yard line. First down, Virginia Tech.
They think Bucky Hodges is special. He's a tough matchup simply because of the size. Here you see him break it off right there. He did a great job. And then watch the acceleration and the toughness. You're not going to take him up high. He's a long-legged guy. Get him low, but he's going to be a great one down the road.
32-yard pickup. First down, Virginia Tech at the ECU 30. Jet sweep, Isaiah 4. Turns that corner, 25. Stood up at the 21-yard line, out of bounds near there. Josh Hawkins the one to make the tackle.
If you can't run the ball inside, and so far, other than the quarterback, they've struggled to run the ball between the tackles. The fly sweep allows you to get your athletes in space with speed. It's going to put a lot of stress on the East Carolina defense and also wear them out a little bit going sideline to sideline.
Give the fullback a carry. Sam Rogers, a first down run up to about the 16. Stopped by Monteese Overton.
Throw that poor guy a bone. He blocks all the time. Let him carry the football. And he got hard yards there straight ahead.
ECU just got a 12th player off the field in time. Maybe a half yard this time for Sam Rogers. Terrell Stanley there to hold his momentum. Dimitri McGill, big 6'1", 300-plus pound junior. Slow getting up for ECU on his knees.
And they can ill afford to lose anybody in that front group. They're only 2 deep across the front on the odd front look. And they would be down a man if McGill can't make it.
Yeah, what you're saying is they only dressed 6 defensive linemen today.
Total.
McGill off under his own power.
can see him come in from the right side of the screen. Just at the end there, hard to tell what might have been his shoulder or something. Just got rolled over and rolled up on.
Virginia Tech a 3rd and 5 from the 15.
Crucial that they convert in the red zone.
They have Ford there at the bottom of the screen, singled up and looking left. Finds his man wide open at the 8. A move made by Cam Phillips. First down and goal inside the 5. A 13-yard gain.
Too much room right there. A lot of time to throw. They did a great job, Virginia Tech, of picking up the blitz. They tried to pressure him, couldn't get to him.
First and goal from the 2. The fullback fighting towards the goal line. Touchdown, Sam Rogers. Well, the guy who their coaches say, hey, he is a team leader for us, period.
He's going to scramble on this one. He just puts his head down, takes a little seam, and then watch him come straight ahead, north and south, run through one tackle, stretch the ball across, in control. Great job. And that's what Frank Beamer and his staff needed. They needed a score. They needed a drive. They needed to convert in the red zone. They got all 3. Hopefully it'll allow them to regain some of the momentum in the game.
Point after attempt for Joe Sly. (28-21). A drive and a score. The Hokies desperately needed, capped off by the Rogers touchdown.
Timeout.
From Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium in Greenville, North Carolina, along with Don Davenport down on the field and former Oregon head coach Mike Bellotti, I'm Mark Neely. Glad you could join us in this matchup in the American Conference in the ACC. East Carolina trying to beat an ACC foe for the 5th consecutive time and beat Virginia Tech for the 2nd straight year. Trayvon Brown up near the 25-yard line. Quarterback keeping. For about 3 up to the 27. Chuck Clark, Sean Huelskamp with the tackle. Clark, by the way, is a former high school teammate of East Carolina wide receiver Davon Grayson. He's played at Kings Fork High School, Suffolk, Virginia. Well, there hasn't been a whole lot there for Chris Hairston today. I think his longest run has been of 4 yards. Tied up that time by Sean Huelskamp.
He's better decoy today, and he has definitely attracted the attention of the Virginia Tech defense. And he's also been a pretty good blocker. A couple of those plays that look like zone reads really aren't zone reads. The quarterback leads where the tailback becomes the lead blocker inside. It looks like an option. It's really not. It's just a quarterback lead power play.
5 of his 9 rushes for Harrison have gone for negative yardage, including that last one. 66 total rushing yards in this game for ECU. Summers looking to add to that total. Cuts to the outside to the 35. Got a block on the edge from the aforementioned Davon Grayson.
Tell you what, they said he was a special athlete. As you watch him now maneuver on a wet field, he's running around, making people miss. They're falling down. He keeps his feet. He gets the necessary yard. He's got the wherewithal to get out of bounds and protect the football. He's becoming a veteran quarterback right in front of our eyes.
You know, on our trip to the stadium here today, Coach, you and I were talking, and you said, you know what, a mobile quarterback can give an opposing team nightmares.
Yeah, it's a defense coordinator's worst nightmare, because in that situation, you're only rushing 3. I was going to say they better put somebody in a spy mode on him and somebody that can match his athleticism.
Runs for the first down at the 38-yard line of East Carolina. Hairston. Lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage again.
Yeah, they're plugging the holes inside pretty well for the basic running plays. And I think right now they want the tailback to carry the ball. They don't want the quarterback to carry the ball. And they can determine that the way they play defense.
Option. He pitches to Hairston. I mean, perhaps that's the way to get him some yardage. 5 of 7 on third down. 3rd and 6 in motion. Johnson. The pass in that direction. He pulls it down. First down across midfield. Well, they brought him in motion from the near side, and he makes a nice catch, kept his balance, and a first down.
This is the typical scissors or rub type play. The receivers on the outside run inside routes, and then he just gets outside. Great catch, because that wasn't the best throw, but that was a really nice catch under those circumstances.
Goes for 17 yards. First down at the 41 of Virginia Tech. Kept. Motley spin move. Still on his feet, and he breaks free. A foot race into the end zone.
Wow. Can we say a star is born?
41-yard touchdown scamper for quarterback James Summers. And there were at least 3 Hokies that had a chance to bring him down.
Yeah, and it started with a great read on the inside. I don't know if the tailback blocked or they're just reading the inside defensive lineman. But he got through that hole really nicely, and it looked as if he was going to get caught. He broke free for that. And wow, what an athlete, what an athletic move. And the control of football and reach out as he did with one hand on a wet, rainy day like today. I would have told him, hold on, I don't want you to do that. But he scored, so it's all in the books now.
Well, Summers, 11 rushes for 106 yards. When we chatted with the offensive coordinator, Dave Nickel, yesterday for East Carolina, he mentioned that head coach Ruffin McNeil kind of let the cat out of the bag that Summers was going to play this week. And Nickel said, I wish he didn't say that. Well, you know what? The cat's out of the bag now. Everyone's going to know about James Summers. 41-yard touchdown run, and it's back to a 2-touchdown lead for the Pirates. Well, Hokie fans may be thinking it's deja vu all over again. Remember game 1 for the Hokies against Ohio State. Braxton Miller had that video game-like spin move. You know, this one wasn't quite to that level, but this was still a remarkable run by the quarterback, James Summers. Caleb Pratt kicks into the raindrops. A shorter kick this time, but it goes off the hands of Trayvon McMillan, and it'll come out to the 25. That's the end of the third quarter, 35-21. And this presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We're into the fourth quarter in rainy Greenville, North Carolina. Virginia Tech led 14-0 7 minutes into the game. Since then, it's been almost all East Carolina. They lead at 35-21, but Virginia Tech with a first down from their own 29 as we begin quarter 4. Motley settles, throws underneath. Isaiah Ford, like that. Hodges. Tackled by Overton at the 36.
Yeah, they've got maybe 3 or 4 possessions in this quarter, depending on what and how the tempo the DCU chooses to use. So once again, they have to be very effective and efficient with their possession.
In motion, Trey Edmonds. Motley. It's a block from Edmonds, but not a lot. Just a couple of yards up to the 35, tripped up by Jordan Williams. Brendan Motley on third down through the air so far today, 5 of 9, 46 yards. But I'm with you, Mike. Like you said, there's been an errant pass here and there, but under the conditions and the weather, I think he's performed very well today.
No, I do too. I've been impressed with his moxie and especially his ability to run. I didn't know he was advertised as a runner. They didn't talk a lot about that, but he's been very efficient.
Line to gain the 43 on a 3rd and 8. Motley steps up, throws, and hits his man for the first down, Cam Phillips, and it's a foot race towards the end zone. Phillips inside the 10, he's tackled at the 5. Corey Sargent able to catch up to him and avoid the TD, but it's 1st and goal, Virginia Tech.
Big play for the 3rd down conversion and more, but great saving tackle. So now Virginia Tech knocking on the door, but they're still going to have to try to score. And ECU defense is going to bow their back down here. Great response on running him down, tackling Keaton out of the goal line.
60-yard gain First and goal, Virginia Tech at the East Carolina 5. Full back in motion, Rogers. Now they bring McMillan in for the fly sweep. Kept and waltzing into the end zone. Touchdown, Brendan Motley.
Great job, and really the fly sweep action, I think, scared the defense. This is a walk, and you see right there, they block inside, they pull the lineman, seal the backers. Everybody else was running outside to defend the fly sweep. Motley basically walks in the end zone. Great play construction, though, partly because of the formation and the influence of the defense.
5-yard touchdown run for Motley. The point after sneaks in that right upright for Joey Sly. It's a one-score game. It's still 8:18 to go in the fourth quarter from Greenville. Well, Brendan Motley's touchdown run has made this a one-score game. 35-28. East Carolina. Still 8:18 to go. We've seen some impressive quarterback play on both sides today.
No question. And not only with their arms, but their feet. And none of them were really advertised as running quarterbacks other than maybe James Summers. But he's impressed with his ability to throw the ball on the move, too, and make plays.
Joey Sly kicks. And a line drive is going to sail through the end zone and a touchback to the 25. Well, East Carolina has 170 rushing yards. Only 3 of those have come from somebody other than a quarterback in a stiff arm. Here's Summers continuing the running for the ECU quarterback.
I'll tell you what, you can't tackle him. I'm surprised. When you run inside as a quarterback, you have to be a tough son of a gun. But the other thing is, he's making plays. He's continuing plays, using a straight arm, as you said, eluding people, breaking tackles. I mean, he's tough to stop.
Only 2 other teams in the FBS ran the football worse than ECU coming into this week. And much different for the Pirates because of this. The running of the quarterbacks, and especially Summers, who was one more move away from maybe breaking another, but that still goes for 10 yards. Adonis Alexander got just enough of his leg to bring him down.
Virginia Tech struggling to stop the quarterback run inside off the lead block or cross block of the running back.
171 yards rushing for quarterback James Summers. He's averaging almost 10 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's a pretty good day for anybody. Most great running backs.
Hairston. Most of his carries have gone for negative yardage today. Carson Lighton makes sure of that this time.
They're trying to keep the defense honest by giving it enough to the running back that they have to honor that. And really what that is doing is their focus has been on the running back. It's allowed both Blake Kemp and James Summers to be effective as rushers also.
Under 6 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Virginia Tech has all 3 of their timeouts. Second and long for ECU, ball just across midfield at the 44 of Virginia Tech. Taking a deep shot. Over the shoulder attempt by Isaiah Jones, just a tad long, covered by Mook Reynolds.
I thought that was a well-thrown pass, in all honesty. I think sometimes when that ball goes through that outside shoulder, as we watch this, it's hard to run your full speed. And you start to look back, you lose your stride length. And that was one that, you know, Summers would like to have over, put it more just in the outside shoulder, not quite that far outside. Huge third down, though. Huge third down because it's a long one anyway. Tough to get against this defense, but key to run some time off the clock.
Summers draw. Tackled for a loss. Kenny Canham, Luther Matty, and Corey Marshall all in that area. Fourth down.
Now, in theory, Virginia Tech might have 2 series left. They do have 3 timeouts, but obviously they would like to score on this drive.
How seriously are they coming after this punt?
You know, they haven't got close. They're going to take a look at it, and certainly they probably would love to do it. I know that Coach Beamer feels the shield punt is more difficult to have blocks, effective blocks against. Looks like he's trying to put some pressure, but not really trying to block it.
Take a shot. That's over the head of Strowman. It's going to take a bounce at the 5. They're going to down it. They didn't let it roll into the end zone, but it was first touched around the 3 or 4. And Virginia Tech's going to be pinned deep in their own end once again after a 43-yard punt.
And depending on how they approach it, you know, they can work this ball down. They've got time to put a drive together, but you'd like to score a little quicker, get a chunk play to maybe try to get an opportunity to win this game outright.
Motley looking to pass from his own end zone and throws a strike to Hodges to the sideline. And he's out around the 20. The coverage from Trayvon Simmons, first down.
Great poise, great protection. Motley stayed in the pocket, then drifted to his right and waited for somebody to come open. Found his big target, Hodges, down the sideline. Very nice job. Really great poise and just confident concentration by the quarterback.
In motion, McMillan. Straight ahead. Motley tried to cut it outside. Tackled at the 35, a gain of about 3. Let's check. Tight one going on here. Virginia Tech 2nd and 7. Dropping back. Motley pressured and sacked. At the 27, Dimitri McGill.
That's what you call a coverage sack. He had plenty of time, but great coverage down the field allowed the defensive line eventually to get there. He had to hold the ball. They have timeouts to give. Probably should have thrown the ball away in that situation in order to save yardage.
It's been a fun game, especially when Virginia Tech shot out to the quick lead thanks to the turnovers from ECU. But it has been back and forth since.
Really has, and we're down to a 1-possession game with 2.5 left. This is what you coach for.
Motley all alone underneath the completion to the 35 to Isaiah Ford. He advances it to the 39. About 2 yards, a little more than that, shy of the first down. Stopped by Jordan Williams.
Well, this is definitely 4-down territory. Now, once again, based on what we've seen, I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw the ball, but running the quarterback design running play with Motley has seemed to be the most efficient and effective means they have of getting that yardage. Or going to one of the big targets inside, the 2 tight ends there, Malik and Hodges, they're both mismatches.
Huge play on 4th and 2. Motley puts it in the air. Incomplete. Bucky Hodges had it for a moment, lost it. And Virginia Tech turns it over on downs with 1:47 to go. Very catchable ball.
Yeah, that was a great protection. And Motley puts this on the money, looks, surveys the field. Hodges knew as soon as he touched the ball, they didn't watch it all the way in, and it bounced out. And it wasn't quite touched. Maybe got a little fingertip on it. The ball went off his chest, and that's unfortunate.
So 2 timeouts. Virginia Tech can stop it twice.
Yeah, I think the scoreboard is incorrect. It says 3, but I believe they only have 2.
They do. 2 remaining.
So they still should, if they stop them, they can get the ball back. It's just how much time will they have?
Wouldn't be much. As long as they keep it on the ground, which they do with the quarterback Summers. So they use a timeout here. They'll have 1 left with 1:42 to go. Hairston tries to cut back and is tackled for a loss back at the 42. Virginia Tech uses their last timeout with 1:37 to go. Tackled by Mook Reynolds, the quarterback. He's gotten a lot of time today because no Kendall Fuller, leg injury, knee, was suited up but has not seen the field, and that's been a big part of this game that Virginia Tech has missed. Converted over 50% of their 3rd down opportunities today.
If they throw it, I will be very, very surprised.
Wow. Will he get put in the air? A flag late. Tackle made at the 42, so the flag will stop the clock with 1:29 to go.
Holding offense, number 80. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Hold on the tight end Bryce Williams, so it's 4th down.
Yeah, I would not have thrown the ball there ever. I wouldn't even consider it because an incomplete pass, you know, stops the clock. Here's we can see right there, as soon as the quarterback gets outside, the tight end there, 80, has to let go, because certainly is that any type of stretch of the jersey, that play is going to be called. In fact, he does it a couple times.
Well, they restart the game clock. Play clock's at 8. Strowman back at his own 10. Gregory tries to pin him in. Angling it. That was a fair catch taken at the 5. 36-yard punt for Gregory with no return, and now Brendan Motley with no timeouts and under a minute to go. 58 seconds. What is spotted at the 6. Frank Beamer's team in danger of falling to East Carolina for the 2nd straight year.
Receivers, first down, out of bounds, or touchdown. That's all to accept.
Motley from his end zone. Steps out, throws to Hodges a little low, and the clock's going to run. He couldn't get out of bounds because the pass was down low.
Yeah, that's a cardinal sin right there. You got to throw it up to him so he can get out of bounds, because that cost him. They got to go into a hurry-up mode here. They got to go as quick as they can.
It gained 9, but clock rolling. That's the important part. Motley now getting out of bounds is Ford. That'll stop it with 29 seconds left. And it's up at the 36.
If you get off coverage, soft off coverage, you're going to throw the ball as far down the field near the sideline as you can. And they'll take, if they can get 15 or 20 yards a pop, they'll do that if they can get the ball out of bounds. Remember, anything over 10 yards, even in the middle of the field, clock will stop for the first down and move the chains.
Ford manned up at the top of the screen. Motley looking for Ford, goes to the far side, and it's a little long, incomplete at midfield. Coverage from Corey Sargent.
Yeah, you'd prefer to throw that into the boundary, that type of pass, simply because it takes a long time, and that's a long ways to throw the football on that type of a route.
22 seconds left. No timeouts for Virginia Tech. They need a touchdown, an extra point to send this game to overtime.
A lot of opportunities, though, but they cannot get the ball and let in bounds unless it's a first down.
Rush 3. Here comes the pass across the middle. Is it intercepted? No, incomplete. Corey Sargent almost coming up with what would have been a game-ending pick, but Motley's shaken up back at the 25.
Bucky Hodges was mugged off the line of scrimmage. He pushed the guy down 10 to 12 yards. I think they really want to go to him, and finally Motley just decided, I need to go to somebody to get rid of the football. I can't afford to take a sack.
Down to 15 seconds. It's 3rd and 15. This time it's Phillips at the top of the screen, manned up. Motley chased, rolls out, fires, broken up at midfield, looking for Phillips. Sargent breaks it up. There's a flag.
Holding. Defense. Number 5. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
But just 8 seconds left. But it's going to put them in a position now, Mike, where they can reach the end zone.
Yeah, this is the Hail Mary, which is, can we call BYU and Tanner Mangum and ask him, you know, help us out a little bit here? It's still, this is going to be a long throw. They're going to have to buy some time. So typically what the defense needs to do is keep the quarterback in the pocket. Don't allow him to scramble to his right, which he probably wants to do. They may set up a protection that invites the rusher inside so he can scramble out and buy some time for the receivers to get down in the end zone. Now, a pass interference penalty will give them another play.
Motley fires. In the air, knocked around, caught, no, incomplete. Malik had a chance at it, and time runs out. For the second straight year, East Carolina has beaten Virginia Tech and make it 5 in a row against the ACC for the Pirates. Ruff and McNeil and East Carolina get a big win to even their record at 2-2. And the handshake with Frank Beamer. And Ruff and McNeil's Pirates win it 35-28 over Virginia Tech. Big day for Summers, 35-28. East Carolina wins it at home over Virginia Tech.